Okay, well, let's shift gears a little bit. Instead of focusing on the retailer, now let's focus on the customer. What does the modern customer want from the retailer, from your perspective, and how are the likes of Gen Z sort of impacting what the customer expects?
We've done a lot of research in this space, and what we see is with Gen Z and even younger generations is just this increasing amount of time spent on social media, 4+ hours. And you look at their trust in those platforms, like you mentioned earlier, and then how do retailers pick up from that? But at the same time, the difficulty for retailers is as much as you're investing in content, 80% of them are willing to jump to a different brand if they think they're going to get a bargain or a deal. So it makes it a really difficult environment for retailers with the attitudes of younger generation in terms of their buying behavior. Very rich tastes, well researched on a product, but they're wise enough to look for a deal.
Mm-hmm. And it's really, I think, the trend to the experience has started before pandemic, but then everybody shifted more to the experience, and Gen Z especially. So really, I think, and we did a bit of retail safari yesterday. It was fascinating to me to look at all these different brands, right? And the one that people were the most impressed with was Petco. Right, Petco, it was the whole experience in the store. They had the lighting, it was the sunset and the sunrise, and they had the, the variety of, they have the vet there and the grooming and the, they even have a kitchen kind of utensils for, like, if you didn't want to use yours when you're cooking for your pet, like, incredible. And the European customers were actually saying, like, we've never seen it. I was like, what do you mean you've never seen it? That's like normal. And I have a dog, so like I'm very familiar. I was like, that's how we shop. Like, it's one-stop shop. It's the experience. The dog gets the treat. And, in this case, it's like I'm the customer and the pet is the customer, and we both get in the experience.
Yeah, I think I'll add on to that is, back to just the ease of shopping. And I'm purchasing things from my social media channel. I'm purchasing things that I see influencers wear. Everybody has to have the certain thing, so it's one-touch shopping. Let me have that. Let me get that now. And so the influence is coming from a lot of different ways, and the influencers are able to capitalize it on directly. So the retailers as a whole have a challenge to, how do I get you to come purchase in a more traditional channel versus just buying right from the person who is making it or is the face of that particular product.
And that's such a great point. I think in that regard, storytelling became so much more important because we need to know the story. We need to know the provenance, where it came from. We're interested in it. The sustainability angle is so important to especially everyone, but the younger generations really want to know more details around how the mission of sustainability by that brand is being brought to life.
Yeah, brands like Patagonia have been really exemplifying that notion in terms of what they're about first and foremost, in terms of building, consumer loyalty.
And you brought up social media. I find it fascinating, diversification, the ambassadors of the brand, the content creation, how then that content goes. It's just fascinating to see. As soon as you said Patagonia, right, I just started thinking of the hiking and mountaineering and all the people I follow on Instagram that actually influenced what I bought. I know I'm not Gen Z, but like they really are.
Yeah, absolutely.
How about how consumers engage with the brand? I think the stat is 9 touch points per brand experience. So they're switching, obviously, between devices and channels. And what are we seeing there?
I think we've got more options than ever for brands to communicate. I saw a study the other day now that we've got these IPTV solutions like YouTube TV and Sling, I actually can now do personalized messages in a more traditional linear format, and that's getting a lot of traction. And it's taking away from the 8-inch screen in your hand and putting on a 55-inch screen in your, and it knows your viewing habits and things like that. So, if you think about all the touch points, you may have 10, 15, 20 touch points leading up to the purchase consideration that you didn't even think about before, but they all add up. And I think that's where that consistency, back to where the customer is the channel, they all have to be authentic in order to lead up to this purchase consideration and final checkout. If any one of those things starts to misstep, then I may look differently at that brand. So for our clients and the CMOs in the world and everything, like that's a challenge to make sure that that content is going out, and every touch point is increasing, and it's minuscule. It could be seconds, to make sure that we are saying that right message and that we're true to where we started from our messaging as a brand.
To deliver that message authentically in the moments that matter is incredibly hard, and those that will find the way will win in capturing our hearts. And it's because it's not trivial. It will not be everyone.
Yeah, I think it's equally challenging in terms of that content plus commerce story is, how many times over the holidays on your social channels you see a great looking product or like an art or something like that. You're thinking, oh, that'd be great. And you click in to convert and you end up on their website that looks like it was stood up last night. And then you lose the sale. Like, you got to be able to connect that trust from that content, from that brand experience, but equally invest in that digital transactional experience to connect that front to back.